In case you've just tuned in, tonight's show is very special. It's a salute to Marty Robbins, who passed away 1 year ago tonight. And so far, you've met Ronnie Robbins, you've met the legendary Gene Autry, Baron Young, you've met Jim Glazer. If you've ever seen the Marty Robbins show, you ever saw it, you saw two ugly old boys out there singing harmony with him all the time. He must have worked 1,000 shows or more with him. And the fellow in the light coat is Bobby Sykes, and in the checkered coat, Don Winters. Would you welcome them to our show?
Yeah. Thank you, Rob.
Let me ask you this. While I've got you out here, the three of you, you and Jim Glazer, who did the harmony singing on El Paso?
That was Jim Glazer, Marty Robbins, myself.
The three of you?
Yes.
And then when you went out on the road, I guess Jim was busy working with the Glazer brothers, so Don, I guess you sang Jim's part.
Yes, I sang his parts. Started in 1960.
What do you remember about Marty Robbins? What would you like for the world to remember about him?
Well, for my part, Marty was such a warm, compassionate person. He loved his fans loved him, and it showed. If you've ever went to one of Marty Robbins' shows, you could see the love that reflected from him for his audience. And we always had such a good time doing shows. It was never like work. It was always like playing some kind of a game that you really enjoy doing, you know.
I worked a show one time at the Illinois State Fair with you guys and watched you work. Sometimes he had a lot of interplay going between himself and the band, didn't he, Bobby?
Yes, every show was different in some way or another. He always kept it interesting. Might be the same joke he had told for hundreds of times, but he'd tell it just a little bit different. And we always tried to keep each other on our toes by trying to throw us off base a little bit, you know.
Did you ever see anything stop him that happened on a show?
No.
Was he ever at a loss for words?
No. He was
I
never.
can't remember him. No, I can't remember that
Absolutely
at all.
not. He had the best interplay with his audience, his fans, of anyone I've ever been associated with.
He was also very loyal to the band, wasn't he?
Well, I guess, getting back to your other question that Don answered, my answer to that would be, if there's one way that Marty would want to be remembered, is that he was completely honest with his fans, with the people that worked with him. If he said something, you could put it in the bank. It was the truth.
He had a great sense of humor.
Yes, he did.
Who was the little steel player he used to call Kojap?
Oh, that's Katz Kobayashi.
Yeah, little Japanese steel guitar player.
Right.
And at that time,
Who was here tonight?
Is he really?
Yes.
But at that time, Kojak was very big on television.
Yeah.
And so he would call the little steel guitar player Kojap.
Yeah.
He also used to crack a joke about Katz, about being an Indian. He was a Japaho.
Oh, what?
That always told everybody. It was always funny.
You know, there's another thing I noticed. He must have gotten tired of singing certain songs the same way all the time, because after a while, Big Iron became Big Orange on his lip.
Oh, he was forever substituting words to a lot of his songs, you know, and that'd break us up naturally. And then Marty was very easily broken up himself.
Did you guys try to break him up?
Yeah, yes, we did.
Would that?
I just think about, I did Nashville Live with you one time, and I went over to the Opry. I was talking to Marty. He said, I'll never do that show, because he was scared of live television.
I know that. We
He
talked
said, I'll
about
mess up. I said, you are too great to mess up, because you know, as crazy as both of us are anyway, if we did it, we'd just laugh and go into something else. But he was scared of live television.
In the early days of television, too, and you ladies are going to find this hard to believe, he thought he was ugly. And one day I said, you're not ugly. Let's go look at the videotape. We had done a little show, and I said, let's go look at the videotape. And he stood there and said, look at that big, ugly mug. So he had a hard time with television, didn't he?
He was always afraid of being photographed up close. I don't know why, but he always thought he didn't look right or something, but I always thought he was a nice-looking man.
Self-conscious about his nose.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he got broken in the Navy, or, you know, somewhere boxing, and he was always a little self-conscious because it was a little bit wider than it was when he was born with it.
Don, you were a boxer, weren't you?
Well, my nose has been broken several
No,
times.
but you were a boxer, weren't
Yeah.
you? Did you ever box Marty Robbins?
I would slap around a little bit, but I never could do that. You know, I'd just bob and weave and let him slap at me, you know, and just try to make him miss. But one time he had a ring that he wore that had got turned around there on the inside of his hand. And this is about 5 minutes before we go on stage, someplace in South Dakota. Well, I weaved into that hand, and he just caught me good, and the blood just started pumping out my forehead. And I had to go on stage holding a cloth on my head, you know, trying to keep that blood from running down in my eyes. That broke me from doing that.
Did it?
You know, you talk about how you look on the screen. I think that most everyone, for the first time they see themselves on the screen, are always very disappointed. I know first picture I made was The Phantom Empire in 1934. And it was one of those things like they show today, you know, science. And the first time I saw
Science fiction.
yeah, first time I saw myself on the screen, I had done radio for a year in Chicago. I started at WLS. So after I saw the first chapter of that picture, I told my wife, I said, I don't think this damn picture business is for me. I said, I think I'd better stick on the microphone and where they don't get a picture of me doing it. So I was very, very disappointed. And I think most everyone, every performer I know that works on the screen is disappointed at himself. In later years, I wouldn't even look at a day's rushes. When I would finish it, I didn't want to see them.
Gene, do you like to watch your old cowboy pictures?
I, once in a while, if I know what picture it is and I haven't seen it, I make so many pictures that I have to see about half of it before I know what it's all about. I made 79 features, 12 chapter serial, and 100 half-hour films for television. So it's just impossible.
Gene, didn't you and John Wayne save Republic Studios from going bankrupt?
Old Duke and I was under contract to Mascot Pictures. That was an independent company that made serials mostly. And I was under contract to them, and Duke was under contract to Monogram Pictures. And the two of them merged. It became Republic. And Wayne and I were the only two stars that Republic had for many years. About 5 years later, why, of course, Roy came along, and we used to kid each other. We
Roy
made
who?
Roy Rogers.
Oh.
That's a good question. We're very good friends, so that's all right. So anyway, though, we used to kid each other because we made the first two pictures under the Republic banner. The first picture I made was Tumbling Tumbleweeds, and he made a picture called Westward Ho. So one time they had a big dinner out there, and President Nixon was the guest of honor. And I went over to the bar where old Duke was having a few shots, and I had a couple with him. And so old Wayne said, you know, Gene, said, if I could just carried a tune a little bit and maybe played a chord on the guitar, he said, you might not have happened. Said, I might have been the first singing cowboy. So I said, listen, Duke, remember this. I said, it was not my singing that actually put me over. It was my fine acting. He said, get out of here.
We'll continue with tonight's salute to Marty Robbins in just a moment.
Come on,